pressure a little bit less for ninjembro. He does have that margin of error. That has to make a difference when you're coming into these races. You at least have a little bit less of the nerves.
And Uncle asking a pertinent question, why do we only have one bed? That's a good question, Uncle.
That is a good question, and it never occurred to me until I saw these randomizer texts. It's just not something I would have thought about.
Yeah, randomizer brings out a lot of questions on logic in the game itself. So, got ourselves the standard start here. First chest was actually a blue nail, which could be a harbinger for some things in the future. We'll have to see on how that goes. And have both our runners make their way over to the floating magical bush and fall down the uncle hole. So let's see what they get. Won't be a sword. It's the bow.
That's a really nice starting item. A lot of races I've seen lately, the bow has just been a massive troll. So getting that out of the way early. I gotta say though, I'm also a huge fan of the blue mail. That 50% damage reduction this early in the game with only 3 hearts. The longer you have that, the more value it has. And people will skip red mail late in the game, but blue mail early, that's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can skip, if you have enough hearts, you can go ahead and skip red mail. I think it'll be heart dependent and location dependent upon where it is. If it's on Bumper Cave, you're not gonna fret over it. If it's right somewhere where you can get to it without it being too far out of the way and you have low hearts, yeah, I might as well go pick it up.
Wow, Lanxion getting a lucky 8 bomb drop there off one of the green guards. It's really nice to get all of your escape bomb farming and Kakariko bomb farming done on the second or third enemy.
Absolutely. Always nice to get those out of the way there. And I believe we have a key because we still have 1 key left in our inventory, so that would be the super key that our runners have picked up in that first chest in the dungeon area, which is kind of weird to say because the whole area is kind of technically a dungeon as far as what the game decides where to put items.
That's a good point. Ninjembro will probably also be able to get a bomb drop. The prize pools are randomized across enemy types. Green guards, blue guards, the rats, bats, ropes, everything can be in different prize pools, but there's enough greens that hopefully he'll get that 8 bomb as well.
Yes, indeed. Making our way downtown, or down to the basement, I guess you could say, be more specifically. Using those arrows. Nice of the game to give you 30 arrows at the start here. Just makes it a lot easier. Don't have to farm for arrows once you get that bow. If you get it off, Uncle, and a big 50 in the chest there.
Yeah, early silvers to go with that would have been nice. You could have one-shot that guard there. 4 hours seems a little bit excessive for the ball and chain guard.
Yeah, he's got to pierce that armor. It's pretty tough. But both of our runners will be making their way back up to the sewer area. So there'll be 4 chests. Actually, Lanxion has bombs, and ninjembro does not at this point. So that is going to be an advantage if ninjembro does not have those bombs. Won't be able to check the 3 chests there and escape unless maybe they find the boots coming up here in the next chest.
Well, it's really interesting that the standard mode has essentially come down to 6 minutes of talking about bomb farming. That's basically what this is at this point. Ninjembro, having the arrows, hasn't really chosen to farm that many enemies. He walked past the green guards a couple times and just skipped them. It's really unfortunate because that Lanxion got that drop very early.
And we're seeing a little bit of farming here from ninjembro. Actually, you'll probably see some more here once they get into the super area. Those rats are pretty easy to kill. So I would not be surprised if we see some rats and snakes popped with the arrows. But Lanxion is not going to do that. Going to be just making their way downstairs, going straight back to the bomb area, and that's about it.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful. There's no arrow drops down here, so unlike the magic weapons where you can get magic pots, your only option to get more ammunition here is to do a save and quit. So he's going to have to make sure he saves at least some hours for the key rat there. But these enemies are in different prize pools, so getting that nice 8 bomb that we got off the green guards might not even be an option at this point.
Probably isn't, but I think ninjembro is just going to be looking for 1 here. Kind of hoping to get just that 1 bomb so that we can get that little section here checked. Unfortunately, finding not... There we go. There's an 8 drop. Nicely
There's the
done.
8. That's nice.
So both runners get to check this.
And it'll probably be crab, heart piece, and 2 big 20s. That's always the case.
It's a bunch of junk, but you don't have to go ahead and check this. And one of the nice things is if our runners have been counting chests and know what item they haven't found yet, they won't be opening up this last chest. It's the map. Can't be anything else. That's the only thing we haven't seen so far.
I have a lot of respect for runners. You know, like most people, I try to count my items, but it takes a...
Oh, actually, we must have found the map at somewhere. I miscounted.
My case in point right there, Neon. I was going to say it takes a lot of courage to know that you've got everything and walk past that last chest knowing it's the map. And that's my lack of courage is why I will still open that chest.
Yeah, I think I just missed the map somewhere. That's my fault on that, but I think I know where it is too. It's probably in that second chest in the dungeon area. So we did get a map check, and it was I believe I saw the green pendant in Desert Palace, the blue pendant on Tower of Hera, and red crystal on Eastern Palace. That's for sure, and the other 2 were pendants. So
okay. Well, we got some nice environmental items here. Red rupees on the bush crab is some nice early money, and it's good game knowledge that they both have in case we have to do some rupee farming. The arrows on the tree pole wasn't even too bad, with bow being our starting weapon. Tops them off.
yes, indeed, that's really nice to have. You always like to get something that you can use off those tree poles. Either it being bombs, a lot of cases big 20s will be helpful. Fairies are helpful, especially early on here with only 3 hearts. And we're going to see both runners go ahead and skip the hurt piece there, as is usually customary, unless it's me doing it, in which case I go grab it.
Well, I could see maybe picking that up if you were on green mail, but with the blue, I think anything short of a full heart, they're probably going to skip.
That's a good point. But we got a bee there in the Thieves' Cave in Lost Woods, so that will open up Sick Kid here in Kakariko as they go ahead and do their early Kakariko routing.
What I really find interesting about the seed so far is the fact that Eastern is a red crystal. Having the bow, I think it's really likely that they're going to prioritize Eastern. Maybe we'll see the standard South Shore route, but immediately afterwards, I think regardless of what we get, we'll see the Slash Hut and a full clear on Eastern Palace. We'll just do those dark rooms. We don't care.
Indeed, Lanxion with a small direction error there and where to throw the bomb, but it's all right. Goes ahead and gets it anyways, and we'll get to see what's in this last chest here in Lion's basement. Not a whole lot so far. I really didn't see anything. Kena Samaria, okay.
Definitely a good item to get out of the way. Just like the bow, it can be in quite a few places, and it can lock progression. Not going to be an immediate benefit for a little while, but it's good to cross that off the list.
It is going to be required, though, because between what we know from the Light World dungeons and what's still in the Dark World, at least one of them is going to require either Turtle Rock or Misery Mire is going to be a crystal, meaning it is going to be a required item.
Absolutely, and you can definitely feel good, like I said, crossing that off the list, getting it out of the way.
Plus there's Ether, hello, and the Flippers, and the Moon Pearl, oh my.
Okay then, we get Flippers and the Moon Pearl right back to back. That is a very nice well.
And the Red Marine too, so unfortunately our runners like to skip that one, but there's no skipping it this time. You kind of have to get it if you go talk to your friend.
I'm not too critical of the Red Meringue. It does make menuing a little easier, and you can check your stun prize, but beyond that, it doesn't have too much value.
Yeah, it's kind of useful in some of the locations that they'll check. Like, it's fairly useful to use it in, say, Paradox Cave in the top cave with the 5 chests. A little bit less of a hassle than to use the bomb.
Oh, for the switch.
Yes, the switch that you have to hit to knock down the crystal pegs.
I was thinking for a second, did Moldorms become vulnerable to the boomerangs, and I just never knew that?
Oh no! They're still not vulnerable. Still,
okay.
Still have that problem.
My world makes sense once again, Neon.
Good. You're back within logic. We're happy about that.
Exactly. My enemizer logic.
Yeah, there's the big 20 there up on the chest, so we're not boots locked yet. That's a good sign. Kind of interesting. Okay. I thought we were going to see one runner go ahead and do the check down here, and the other runner go ahead and just do the blind check. But nope, they both jump down.
Yeah, this is lining up very nicely so far. We have, like, our flippers lets us do the South Shore check, and we have enough money we can do all of the Zora locations immediately, and then hit into Eastern. We have a lot of item density. Many places are open.
Absolutely. This will be very interesting to see if we get any kind of divergence once we get past the initial checks here. So I assume we're going to get both runners checking the swamp here and checking Mini Moldorm Cave. And then maybe we'll get some divergence from there, or perhaps this is a fairly linear seed and it'll push them both to go to Eastern Palace right away.
Yeah, it's some days you're in the mood for a linear seed. Some days you like a lot of divergence. This race, both runners are very close in their execution capability. So in this case, a linear seed will probably not offer up as much entertainment. I'd like to see a little bit of divergence in this one.
Yeah, as someone who's been in a tournament, been a tracker, been a commentator, I can tell you that there's a difference between being a commentator and being a tracker / runner, and what you prefer.
Well, trackers definitely would like linear seeds. They like to be able to check those boxes, and runners like anywhere where they don't have to take gambles. But the viewers like the gambles, and hookshot there, nice item, but not a gamble because they both got it. Same with the flute.
Yeah. Oh, we're seeing a little bit of divergence here. Lanxion going. Oh, that's why, because the flute's there. So gonna go ahead and. Oh, save the quit. I think to the wrong one. I think Lanxion was going to Sanctuary. Yep, gonna go free the bird.
I actually like ninjembro's route here a little bit. Able to go to the hobo, which is a little bit out of the way, and saving quick from that location, and then activate your flute. So it's a little bit time saved. Seeing the ice rod on the way there, that's one of the other massive potential troll items.
Absolutely, especially if we find out Turtle Rock is required. That's going to mean that they're going to have to come back here and get that for the Trinex fight.
That's valuable game knowledge. I can't see Lanxion not at least becoming aware of that at some point.
Yeah, it's just a matter of timing when Lanxion goes and checks that. It'll be interesting to see where ninjembro goes next. Have two options here. Can go to Ice Rod Cave as Lanxion frees the bird, Goose is loose, Hawk's ready to rock, Dove is up above.
Duck is a mock, yeah.
There's so many of them.
A minor inefficiency there for ninjembro. Activating the flute and then fluting down there could have saved a good 20 seconds, which I think is what Lanxion was ultimately going to do.
Picking up the bombs and 50 rupees in the waterfall chest. Has enough to go do Zora, so we may see a Zora check here.
Yeah, our first significant divergence in the Zora area versus the eastern area. Most likely these spots will converge right after they're done. We still need, either 2 mitts or a hammer and a mitts in order to get our Dark World access. But there's quite a few spots still open in the light world. That flute and the hookshot gives them East Death Mountain access. There's a lot up there.
Absolutely. That can certainly be a nice play here for both of our runners making their way up to East Death Mountain, checking Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, all that good stuff.
Situations like this, the bounty of progression early on can actually be a little bit problematic. You have so many options. You might see something like Lanxion, not go back and check Zora areas for a while just because there's so many other places to go. If that has your key progression, it can be a while before you see it. Eastern, being a crystal, ninjembro is definitely going to head into that area pretty soon, activating the flute. This will either be the Ice Rod Cave check or a Genus Cave check, two items that were a little bit out of the way. You could consider Ice Rod Cave essentially to be an orphaned item at this point, because there's nothing else to route in with it. Probably we'll hold off something like a Genus Cave till later. I think at this point we're probably going to see the desert play that Lanxion made, or a Death Mountain play. Lanxion, doesn't have too many more spots he can check here in Eastern before he's going to have to start sequence breaking the dark rooms. Not too difficult in Eastern. I think ninjembro is actually doing the more difficult one at the moment. Sequence breaking the Old Man Rescue without a sword. With a sword, this is easy, but without a sword, it's kind of tricky actually.
Absolutely, it's definitely pretty tricky to do. The hookshot will make it a little bit easier, plus the Cane of Samaria as well. You can push the block around if you want to. It's a lot slower, but it's a very safe way to do that. Plus, I would assume both runners know the layout of the dark room. It's just a matter of knowing where you are and being able to navigate around without falling in like the one hole that you can fall into.
Yeah, well, just get the Bombos tablet. I'm sorry, not tablet. Bombos tablet in the chest would actually be a pretty interesting engineering feat. But the Bombos medallion in the chest, on the other hand, much more consistent and believable. And that's our second of our three medallions.
Absolutely. So it looks like we are racking up the medallions here. And while Lanxion is going through and clearing out the dark rooms, actually using that hookshot very nicely to detect where they are in the room. That one, the room on the right where the key is a little bit harder to figure out sometimes your exact location, but the one on the left is basically just a giant loop. So once you kind of know that, it becomes fairly simple.
Yeah, the next one's a little bit difficult. The one with the Igors in there. If you have a fire rod, it's simple, but it's kind of hard to navigate without the fire rod. There's some neat tricks we'll probably see Lanxion do, but the gloves up here in Death Mountain, that's going to open up quite a few locations.
Absolutely, that's going to be very helpful for ninjembro. What's going to be interesting for Lanxion is if they'd had a sword, they could have used the ether medallion trick to figure out where the Igors are in here. They're going to have to give it a go this way.
Yeah, this is a fairly common strategy if you don't have a fire rod to light the torch. You can... I think I don't know if that was an intentional hook shot across the room there. That might have thrown his positioning off a little bit. Because it's down to a quarter, half a heart, no key. Gonna take the safety fairies. That's a good call.
I think that's a good call as well. Just hook shot the fairies. That's perfectly fine. They're durable. They can handle it.
I wonder if that room would be a good place to... I was just gonna say to use your magic bee.
Maybe. Does the magic bee work on Igors? I guess it does.
I don't know if it hurts it.
He's got it. He got the key.
I don't know if the magic bee caused damage or if it just, showed him where it was so he could hit it with an arrow.
Sorry about the interruption there, Kiru, but
that's fine.
We did find a fire rod hanging out in Paradox Cave.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I was thinking about this a minute ago. we're talking about linear seeds versus open seeds. We've seen there's a lot of different places they can go. Eastern, Death Mountain. We've seen a lot of variety here, but beyond this, the simple quantity of locations, the quality of the items we have, the bow, the fire rod, the cane. We know where the ice rod is. We have the hook shot, the flippers. All of these one-off items that don't block much have, we know where they all are already. Have you ever seen something like this? This is insane.
Well, I did have a race yesterday that I called that was a 39-minute go mode, so yeah, I've kind of seen things that have been even more ridiculous than this.
I've seen 10-minute dark world access, and I thought that was pretty insane.
Yeah, we had that race yesterday. We had a hype cave check at 7 minutes and 45 seconds as Ninjembro picks up the silver arrows.
If you're one of these guys and you're running this race, you're going to basically, you're going to feel very good about your position, but you're also going to feel that at no point in this race can you feel that you're ahead, because there's so much here. You're just not going to be able to get a sense of what your progression is relative to choices your opponent might have made.
Absolutely. And we did see Lanxion go ahead and complete Eastern Palace, picking up that first crystal. But we still don't have Dark World access yet, so looking for a hammer at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be, I was going to say this is going to be an easier Eastern for Ninjembro, but only if he picks up a magic pot somewhere to use that fire rod.
And we're definitely still locked out of Dark World access, locked out of Tower of Hera, and for the moment as well locked out of Desert Palace unless we find the book or the Titansmith upgrade.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of an overlap now. Ninjembro's checking Eastern. This is an area that Lanxion has full cleared, and vice versa. Ninjembro has done the Zora area checks that Lanxion is doing right now. Lanxion will still have to head up to Death Mountain in order to pick up his mitts and fire rod. I'm trying to think of what locations that they have access to. Genus Cave is one that's yep. Obvious out of the way, but I'm not thinking of too many off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much tapped out at this point, other than the Genus Cave. Unless there's something there that gives you access to go somewhere else, and not a whole lot left we can do.
Well, if it's a Genus Cave, it basically has to be an item that is like either the mitts or an item that unlocks multiple locations, like the book. Well, not even the book, because that doesn't
Boots
unlock.
Would do it.
Yeah, Boots wouldn't either. That would unlock just Bonk Rocks.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's right. Good point.
Without Dark World access, I think it has to be the hammer at this point.
Yeah, I think we're looking for a hammer or a book in a Genus Cave. If we don't find it there, then we don't find something of value that pushes us further. Actually,
well,
you know what?
The book would be a dead end because they can't get to either tablet.
That's right. The other thing too is, as far as Aghanim, it's got to be something that gives progression. Because think about this, here. What don't we have to even fight Aga right now? No lamp, no magic cape, no master sword, or even any kind of sword. So we don't have any of the three possible items we might need for that.
Exactly. This has to be the single item progression: a hammer or mitts. It can't be Aga access because that needs the cape and a sword. The lamp, there's 3 prerequisites there, and it's just not possible with what they have left to do. So I think this has to be mitts or the hammer. Absolutely.
I think it's got to be something, or something that leaves you progression somewhere else, like a shovel, mushroom turn-in, a fetch quest item of some sort.
Well, the first tier mitts were not sequence broken. We have the flute to get access to Death Mountain and the hookshot, so that's not a problem. This could be books. The book, if it give access to Desert Palace, which is something that I hadn't thought about until chat pointed it out. I was thinking just in the sense of tablets.
Yeah, books would open up. It wouldn't actually open up the tablets either, because we would need the Master Sword to be able to read those. Master Sword and the book.
If you can even get to them, which you can. But Desert Palace is potentially 2 items plus the Desert Ledge item. Well, I'm still going to say it's probably the hammer or the mitts.
I wouldn't be shocked by that. If it's mitts, then our next progression should be somewhere into the Dark World for that.
Doing when ninjembro is doing it right now, killing those 6 popos without a sword is always... You always walk into that room and you're like, how do I do this without a sword?
Carefully.
Well, yeah, it's the muscle memory of, I go in, I do a sword spin. I think ninjembro will be the first person to show us that Genos Cave check, because I think he is out of items at this point. Lanxion has to pick up the glove and then still has the East Death Mountain, so it's only about a minute behind at this point.
We're kind of right now seeing ninjembro go back and clean up some of the areas here that are clearable. Boy, if it's book, it could be pendant turn in too, because that's green pendant, so that would be 3 items within Desert Palace, possibly.
Yeah, books definitely possible. And oh yeah, I thought ninjembro went to Ice Red Cave, but I guess he did not.
That was the one spot over here that he skipped when he did all of the checks earlier.
And thank God for that red mail, because that would have been that green mail death, 3 hits by the crab. Alright, well I think now they've done all the items. I mean, once Lanxion finishes these 7 chests. Just a Genos Cave, and ninjembro does realize that we're going to see the ledge item most likely. And we got, red ruby up there. Okay, a Genos hype coming in.
Indeed, got some kind of progression up here. Just a question of what it is.
You don't want to come down here without bombs. I'm looking over at Lanxion's side, just getting that 8 bomb drop. Wow, that could have potentially used up a bomb here and then only had just 1 for a Genos Cave.
It is a Titan's Mitts, okay.
Okay, well, I think both players would probably have preferred the hammer. This does give them Dark Road access, but it gives them Dark Road access only at Kakariko Village. That's going to make your mobility a little bit slow until you pick up the hammer.
Indeed. We'll be able to go ahead and go to 6 as well and get over to the Misery Mire checks outside of Mire and even get a peek at what the medallion is.
Yeah, they do have access to Eastern Dark World via their flippers if they're so inclined. We see that Skull Woods is our last red crystal. That doesn't mean... So the fact that that's our red crystal means that the hammer could still be Pyramid Fairy locked. And we're going to have to wait and see what we find.
Indeed, and we've got the red pendant is at Thieves Town, so... You may now begin your permutations chat for what could be on pedestal.
Absolutely. Fortunately for the runners, there aren't too many items that they actually still need at this point. And hammer cannot be on pedestal, and that's probably the most important remaining item. So we can get that out of the way at least. We do know that we're going to need mirror for this seed, and that could be up there.
Absolutely.
So in order to just answer a question from chat here, what does Mire need to be full clearable? You need to be able to get to Mire, so that's the Titan's Mitts and the flute. You need the Moon Pearl, of course, to be able to navigate the Dark World. To get into Mire, you need one of the 3 medallions. To get across the entrance of Mire, you need either the book, or either the boots or the hook shot. And to complete Mire, you need the Key of Samaria.
Which actually, as long as it's not Quake, we have all of that stuff already.
Indeed, we do. Yeah, and the lamp. I forgot the lamp, and of course a weapon to actually damage Vitreous. So I missed a few things.
Well, if we've got silvers and bow, then we've got that taken care of too. So yeah, just a lamp unless somebody's going to be bold and do those rooms dark.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to do like a more general answer of like conceptually everything you need rather than...
Right.
Maybe the question was, what remaining items do they need? In that case, I could have just said lamp.
Lamp. Yes.
And maybe Quake.
But knowledge is good. It's always good to know kind of what you need going in. And as far as the other crystal dungeons go, we need the hammer for Palace of Darkness. We also will need... Let's see here. There's a lamp.
There's a lamp. So Mire's good. We do need, as Chet pointed out, in their perpetual never-ending attempt to correct me in all things. We do need a sword as well to use the medallion.
Ah, yes, that's right. That is a good call. You did say sword, and that is correct.
Chat reminding me why I'm not in the brackets phase.
Yeah, neither am I. More time to comment. More time for commentary. It's not all bad.
Yeah, this is kind of a full-time job. If only we got paid, this would be the dream.
Yeah. But it's fun as it is.
It is extremely fun. I always recommend people, if you haven't tried playing Randomizer, you should give it a try. But the same thing goes with volunteering for the Randomizer community. If that's something that you might be interested in, check the Discords.
Yes, indeed. It's always one of those things too, where people are like, "Oh, there's probably too many people doing this." It's like, no. You can never have enough people helping out. Trust us on this.
So,
ahead.
I'm just thinking through this. First sword on pedestal. That's possible, isn't it? I think Neon it is.
We would need to find the hammer or something to damage Moldorm with.
Yeah, there's definitely prerequisites, but we can't rule it out logically, I don't believe.
No, I don't think we can. Because you would need something to damage blind with, which we have. Candace Mario will do the trick. We need something to damage Moldorm with, which we do not have yet. Hammer would work for that. And we need something to damage the Molas with, which we've got the bow. That'll work just fine.
Silver Arrows absolutely damages the Molas.
It kind of deletes them.
Yeah, and the Fire Rod is a nice second option. So we got land mode covered.
Or if you don't have the Fire Rod, you've got the Ice Rod. You can use that too. It works.
I would love to see First Sword on pedestal. I have never seen a seed like that. That would be a treat.
Boy, that would be something.
Well, they've gotten so many progression items at this point that making the sword really hard to find wouldn't actually be so bad, because they have almost everything else they need for Go mode already.
Absolutely. better yet. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna game theory out this this whole chain here again. I do this too often. Just the chain of pain, where it's like 7 fetch quests all stacked together.
Yeah.
And that leads to your go mode item, and it's just like a hassle. Like it's like you have to get the mushroom, and that turns into the book, and then the book turns into a powder, and then the powder turns into boots, and then the boots become, you know, access to Bonk Rocks, and then Bonk Rocks has.
Oh man, you're sadistic.
Bonk Rocks has the yeah, it's like I think I started off with pedestal mushroom, and it leads all the way to shovel, and then you dig that up to get the mirror, and then the mirror is access to the first sword in K45.
I think it's fine to come up with an interesting amount of pain, like the first sword on the pedestal. If somebody really wants to come up with the absolute most excruciating planner they possibly could, then we can defer to chat.
Yeah. This is why I'm not allowed to do Plando. I would put it somewhere where you could see it, but it would require such a miserable chain to go get it. Like it's on Bumper Cave, and like the Bumper Cave item, the cape is on top of Spectacle Rock, and then you do the whole chain I just mentioned to get the mirror.
Well, we have ninjembro making do with what he has. A Samaria blind. That's really the only thing that he has at the moment that can kill blind. And we are leaving an item behind in this dungeon. We do have one thing left in the big chest.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we can't get that item out yet without the hammer. So, but we do know they can't be the hammer.
Absolutely. You cannot have the hammer locked behind Thieves Town, despite the fact that you can complete the, you know, it takes an act of, you know, specific intent in order to, you know, lock yourself out of that chest. But the logic assumes that you're trying to be malicious. Lanxion not far behind, going into blind and going to have to do the exact same King of Samaria fight because he hasn't picked up any other progression items. This is, wow, it's going to be a 30 dig game, I think.
Maybe, oh, no, it's not going to be 30 digs. Pretty close, though, to get the big 20 hits in there.
Well, that was less than 1 rupee per dig. That's not a very good ROI.
Nope. People in chat talk about a 4-dip Turtle Rock. What are you going to do? 4-dip Turtle Rock with no boots, and then the boot, it's a double dip Gans Tower because the boots are on the keys on the big torch.
I don't know how you would get a quad dip TR, not at least in this seed. I mean, the only thing that they need is the, you know, once they go in, is the ice rod.
Yeah, in this seed, no. We're just sitting here talking about terrible seed ideas. This is fun. While well, runners are busy navigating the dark world.
They have all of the items almost, so like we're kind of just, you know, they're executing well. We called out the Samaria blind fights that were interesting, but other than that, we're kind of just waiting for them to, you know, pick up crystals. They're doing the same routes.
Yeah, I think we're the Jembro is taking Jeremiah on a world tour here, and I think that tour includes Hype Cave.
This is our first Hype Cave check, so we can see what the level of hype is. Now keep in mind, on this seed, we've seen a lot of items, so you have to adjust for that.
Indeed, starting off, NPC's got a little bit of love. Green goo. There's the hammer. And a single rupee. And another little bit of love.
Alright, well, given what's available to us, that's a 10 out of 10 hype.
Absolutely. Hammer will open up quite a few things for our runners.
I'm a little disappointed to see the save and quit there. I would have liked to have seen Ninjembro continue on to Palace of Darkness, just because I like to see Kiki eat the dwarf.
Maybe perhaps another time. Perhaps when it's not an actual elimination match, possibly.
All right, well that's fair.
Yeah.
Though Ninjembro does have that one match advantage at this point, so he could sacrifice a dwarf for the cause.
Good, but kind of at the same time, it's like, is that what you really want to do? especially when the game 3 seed might be really cruel.
Probably not. Lanxion not having the dwarf, that's not even an option for him. So, with Palace of Darkness being as a crystal, this would actually be a really great time to do a pyramid check and and route and pod. Although, that said, looking at this again, you might want to save the pyramid for the pyramid fairy, given that you're going to get that other red crystal pretty soon.
Absolutely.
But that hammer does let us officially declare AGA 1 as not required for this seed.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Or, as some people in chat would say, aw.
Boo. But both runners continuing to make the same plays here, both going to Palace of Darkness.
Probably a good call. Picking up the hammer opens up the remainder of that dungeon that could be completed. So, hey, you get an item to open something up that's a crystal dungeon you need to complete, why not go there?
Absolutely. I mean, with the exception of, maybe in certain situations, swamp or ice, if you're very close to finding, your gun mode item elsewhere, you're going to want to go full clear crystal dungeons. You get the crystal to get items you're otherwise going to have to almost likely get anyway. Both runners are making the mathematically best plays here.
Absolutely, and a couple things to keep in mind with the logic for those who are playing along at home. Actually, Lanxion just lost Kiki there for a moment. The garbage bags were unkind.
No.
He's got him back. Don't worry.
I thought he lost it again. My apologies, Neon. Please continue.
No problem. But there are 4 keys here in the front of Palace of Darkness, so we'll find 4 keys and 2 items, and the back will have the other 2 keys, and that's based on the logic so that you can't lock yourself out of the dungeon at the start there. And indeed, there was nothing on Lumberjack Ledge this time around, so no need to go fight Aga early. We'll get to fight him in the tower.
Yeah, still without a sword, but this dungeon, you don't need a sword to complete it, and with the lamp, you don't even really need it to make the navigation of the dark rooms easier, so there's nothing that's even going to slow them down.
Absolutely. One of the nice things about knowing that you have 4 keys in the front there is that you can, as we talked about before, you can count the chests. And if you've got 2 items and 3 keys and you haven't opened that big chest, that small chest that's up, I believe it's the big key chest if I remember right in the vanilla game.
The middle one there? That's the vanilla big key.
Vanilla big key chest, yeah. If you've got 3 and 2 at the start there, you don't have to worry about opening that chest because it's going to be a key, and it's a nice time save to be able to go ahead and just skip that to start with. There's the big key.
So I always know that when you get to the back of this dungeon, if you have 2 keys, you don't have to go to the Harmless Hellway, and if you have 3, then you do. But that's always dependent on you haven't cleared out the whole front. So like if you really count your keys, then you can definitely save time in this dungeon. There's a lot of dungeons like that. Misery Mire's another one. You can infer some things in the key logic. Ice is probably the most notorious as far as being able to tell if the dungeon was supposed to be hookshot locked or Samaria locked based on where the keys are.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, if we had actually counted all the keys, we would have found out that, yes indeed, both of the last 2 chests that were being opened up here from Ninjembro for indeed keys, but he's got 3 now, so that will be. Oh, he's actually got 2. That's right. He hasn't opened up that middle door yet. So once you find those 2 items there in the front chest, you know the rest are all going to be keys.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you first have to actually sit down and, you know, kind of like map it out in your head and get an understanding of what the logic is. And then you also have to go through the dungeon enough times where you can, you know, do that on the fly. And it takes practice.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's learned as you go through the game, get practice and whatnot. So if you're new to Rando and you're like confused a little bit about the logic, don't worry. I think every single one of us, the first time we ran into that, I know for certain I did. Your brain kind of goes, huh? I don't get that. And then all of a sudden it clicks and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm on my 200th time, and it's the same thing. You know, the key logics in a lot of places, you know, aren't intuitive. Just open all the chests. You know, just make your way through it. If you're at that phase, you know, you're not going to be, you know, the tournament finalist anyway. So opening a few extra chests won't be the end of your run.
Well, my joke is you're not gonna win the tournament unless you can hover.
that could be true. Whether or not you actually need to do it, having that level of skill kind of does generally define what your execution capability is.
Yeah. I believe Andy is contractually obligated to have to hover. And by the way, Lanxion is setting up a bomb jump here, a hammer jump here. Very nicely done. Nicely
pulled off. That hammer jump. I'm sorry. You know, you said hammer jump and threw me off. That bomb jump in particular is one of the more difficult ones because it's timed with that floor collapsing, and it really became popular in the Key Sanity tournament, where saving a key really could make a difference between a win and a loss.
Absolutely. And kind of the regular rando mode like this, it's not such a big deal if you don't know how to do it. It's hard to set up because it's a pixel perfect bomb jump across that gap. You have to end up in the right spot, right outside that big chest. And as you said, Tiru, it saves you a key. So that too kind of messes with the logic a little bit. And so I think based on what we've seen here, I believe Harmless Hellway does have a key in it just by item counting. Actually, no, there's a second key down there. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because Lanxion went ahead and did the bomb jump, so he's going to have an extra key.
Yeah, there was an item in here because ninjembro had 3 when he was making his way back here.
It's a hard piece. Okay.
So they are really close. One of the players did dip into Skullwoods, I believe, but I don't recall offhand which one did. Otherwise,
I think it was ninjembro.
Okay, I think it was just one of them. So otherwise, you know, they're the same. And ninjembro also turned in the frog, which Lanxion didn't. But no progression at either of those locations.
Yes, indeed. So it'll be very interesting to see here what we've got. Have we found the map yet? We'll have to wait to see for a menu swap here from Lanxion real quick to see if we found the map yet. If we haven't found the map, it is going to be on Helmut Store King. If we have, the Helmut Store King has an item.
Okay, so
they go in Skullwoods.
Yeah, memory test saying that they both did. So that would just be ninjembro having the dwarf as the only difference at this point. And that's super close at 48 minutes. Normally you get a little bit more diversions than that, especially with so many items and giving you so much variety in your pathing.
We're seeing ninjembro cracking that mask on the Helmut Store King. Finished off with a single shot. Helmut Store King will have the final item in the dungeon here.
And a 5-arrow capacity upgrade, just what our players needed.
Absolutely. But more importantly, Crystal for doing that. It'll be very cool to see here. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is because we still don't have a sword at almost 50 minutes in yet. We have not found that first sword. The one thing that both of our runners are not going to be able to do, and we saw it on ninjembro, we'll see it here from Lanxion in just a moment, is they won't be able to keep themselves facing forward when they get those hits on the Helmut Store King mask. when you do it without holding the charged sword out, if you hold the charged sword out, it doesn't flip you back around like you're seeing on Lanxion's side there. And it's a little bit easier to get multiple hits in very quickly, but it doesn't really matter too much with the health, the mail that they have, and the fact that they've got silvers. It's just a single shot to the forehead will do the trick.
Yeah, it's definitely easier, and even like not just beginners, but mid-level players typically will use the sword strategy. The higher end ones will just go crazy with the hammer, and they do look like they're just absolutely like pumped up on caffeine or something.
You could say that they're going hammer.
I wouldn't, but yeah, I'm sure you could.
I would. And I did.
You did. But we do have a lot of things open at this point. We have the, we can finish Skullwoods, and that opens up Pyramid Fairy. We have all of Dark Death Mountain, which both of our players are doing. We also have, we don't have Spike Cave yet because we don't have an invincibility item. And we have the Purple Chest and Hammer Pegs now opened up in Village of Outcasts. So lots of places to go, but yet again, both players are taking the same route.
Indeed. We do have, as you mentioned, Ice Palace is going to be open for both runners, but they probably don't, like we've talked about before, Ice Palace and Skullwoods are being open, is not Skullwoods, but Swamp Palace being open here. You don't really want to have to go into those unless you're able to kind of go through them in go mode, because it just saves so much time. But we're seeing Ninjembro go ahead and clear out the Hookshot Cave. Still no sword yet. Still no sword. Oh my goodness.
We did get to find out that the Turtle Rock Medallion is Bombos, so they're both able to get in there. We do have some areas in Mr. Meyer that we can check out.
Yes, we don't have mirror, so we can't do the swamp dungeon play yet. That's right. Thanks for pointing that out, chat. I forgot that we didn't have mirror for a second.
Yeah, Kentu Swamp, we could have done Tower of Hera. We can take the hammer to get us there the long way around, but of course, a red pendant and only 2 items. Ninjembro opting to go to ice. In a perfect world, you save this for last, you go mode it, but there are 3 items in here, and either way, it's a crystal, and they can full clear this dungeon.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, as a runner, you kind of find out there's, unless you pull together a plan yourself, there's really not a perfect world. So they kind of have to. It's kind of one of those things where maybe you don't want to have to go through and full clear it, but the game is poking at you to go do it. So.
Well, they have both Misery Mire and Ice Palace. Can kind of fall into that category. Mm-hmm. If you find your keys early on. You might want to just go to the end of the dungeon.
Absolutely.
It's as long as you're picking up crystals, I really don't frown upon diving into any crystal dungeon at any time. You're making guaranteed progress.
Indeed. Even if you don't find anything in that chest, you're getting crystals, you're getting things taken out of the way, and more importantly, you're removing locations from the map. So one of the big things as far as Rando is to kind of treat it like a giant scavenger hunt. And the fewer places you have to check, the more likely you are to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, and expert runners know that, and you might be surprised sometimes when you see one of the the tournament finalists or semifinalists making these what we call them early ice plays, but in reality they know that they win the game by picking up crystals and not the number of items that they end up with. Indeed.
Because you want to get the 7 crystals first, because that's going to get you up to Ganon's Tower. There's the book. Okay. It's in the Myra Shed. And there's our first sword. 54 minutes in.
So it's really interesting. We find out that Misery Mire is also Bombos, so we have the medallion, and now with that sword, we can actually use the medallion and clear this dungeon. And Lanxion taking immediate advantage of that and deciding, I'm just going to go in there and get that crystal.
I do like the fact that the shed was kind of a Misery Mire Desert Palace double dip starter kit.
I think Lanxion's Bombos blew up Ninjembro.
No, it's fine. He survived. He's okay.
Whew, okay, those freezers, they do a lot of damage, but not typically enough to knock out your SNES.
No, actually, maybe not. Oh, okay, there we go. It happens. It's definitely one of those things where if you're running and you have a small hiccup like that, you just keep going. You know, you're not worried about one part because you have a local recording of your game to back it up. But you just keep going because you're like, I'm not going to sit here and waste 5 minutes trying to fiddle with my internet if it's just going to hiccup here and there.
I don't know about all runners, but I'd be willing to bet a lot of runners, their stream could stop and they wouldn't even notice until they finished the race.
Nope. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. I probably would notice because I usually do like that. Occasionally check over to my my OBS software to make sure that it's still working. When I was recording stuff, I would just be like, okay, is it still recording? Because I don't want to be in a situation where it's like it stops recording at one point and you're just like, oh, this is not good. I've been playing for 30 minutes and I don't have any of it. But yeah, it's
well, we saw the other day the first match between our tournament champion Ajneb and Dustin. It was basically frozen on Dustin's side for everything after like the first 20 minutes of the race, and he was doing exactly what he was supposed to do: finish the race. He won, and then that's what local recordings are for. You don't want a runner to miss their opportunity to win because they were fiddling around with OBS options.
Absolutely. You just gotta keep going there. And Lanxion taking a fall there. Misery Mire. I don't think that was...
No.
I'm not sure if that was intentional, no.
I can't think of any place in Misery Mire where you would take an intentional death.
Yeah, in part because when you come back right here to this room, and you have to go through all this again with the Wizrobes and the Popos, and it's not fun. And the BMOS that's kind of hanging out there, being like, hey, I'm going to shoot you. Hey, I'm going to shoot you.
So I think Ninjembro's done everything in Ice now except for Cold Stare. So I haven't been counting my items because I never count my items. So there could be something on the boss, but either way, we are going to get to see a Hammer Cold Stare fight. He's not in a great position though because he's not able to use bombos without a sword. And
he's going to open the big chest.
Okay.
Oh, there's a sword. Hello.
Wow. All right. Well, that solves the we don't have enough magic to use the fire rod problem I was just about to get into.
Absolutely. Kind of bailed out there. I believe he's got a green potion as well from Height Cave, so he'll be able to use the bombos here to start, use a little bit of the fire rod, and then use the green potion and be able to finish off the fight here.
Yeah, I mean, without a key on that right hand, there's 3 magic pots on the right side, but he doesn't have a small key to get in there. Lanxion finding the boots in Misery Mire.
Yo.
So look at this seed. Neon. Lanxion, he wants to go in the Misery Mire. He sees his bombos, doesn't have a sword, checks the chest. Oh, there's a sword. Ninjembro doesn't have enough magic to use bombos on Cold Stare. Needs a sword, gets a sword. This is very generous.
Yes. Super kind there. It's as if the game knew that both runners wouldn't have a sword going into those locations. And it was just like, yeah, I got you back.
Exactly.
It's bizarre because Logic is not supposed to do that. Logic is supposed to be cruel.
Yeah, Game's got your back. Ninjembro not able to switch items over to the hammer until those explosions end. It just has to run like a coward from the eyeballs.
He's fine though. Get the key, so that means generally when you find a key like that, it means that the King's Mire is required.
Yeah, they both got a sword exactly when they needed it, but they were 2 different swords.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if we see either run or pick it up. I think Ninjembro will pick up that sword. I don't know if Lanxion's going to go ahead and open the big chest to find a second sword. Might do it if we're still looking at a fighter sword going into that, because you got to have Master Sword to be able to fight Ganon. So
yeah, if he comes into Ice Palace, it depends on whether he's go mode or not. If he's not go mode, I think he'll still pick up all 3 items. He'll be looking. He's still looking for the mirror at this point. So if we're talking simply about swords, the sooner he goes to ice, the more likely he's going to actually pick it up.
I would say Ninjembro is going to have that second sword in just a moment here. Oh, got the bombos, so you can go on in there, sir.
Yeah, there's no chance you skip the Mire Shed.
Missing the big key there, Lanxion. There it is.
Ask and you shall receive. Unfortunately, that doesn't restore the floor.
Nope. That does, though.
That does, yeah. 2 screen transitions away, and somehow that floor gets magically rebuilt.
All that for a key, unfortunately, but better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, and speaking of safe, he's down to 1.5 hearts. So, no fairies, no powder, and not a really great position to find yourself in.
I wonder if he remembers about the fairy room in the basement that nobody ever goes into.
You're gonna actually have to tell me which fairy room you're talking about, because I don't think I know.
In the next, I believe in the next room there is a locked door that has a fairy in it. Nobody ever has fairies in it. Nobody ever goes into it though.
In this room?
No, in the room we just went through, the one that you spend like no time in.
With the block and the Stalfos.
Yes, I believe so.
There's another door in that room?
I think, if I remember right, yeah, because I remember talking about it to somebody before, and I didn't know that was the case, so I was like, oh, I'm quite surprised that that's a thing too.
Huh.
Oh wait, no, it's in the room that's before it, and it's only got rupees, that's right.
Yeah, I was going to load up the practice ROM, like, right now, because I don't think...
That's right, I forgot about that.
Alright, I'm thinking through my Meyer key logic, and I'm like, a locked room that we never knew about?
It's in the very first room there. He should be okay. Getting these.
Very nice. Zero cycle, Vitreous.
Indeed. Very nicely done. And he's got the magic powder. Well, that could have been useful about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, at any other location in this dungeon except right there.
Yes. We didn't just go through a bunch of anti-fairies and bunny beams and then, oh, there's the magic powder you could have used.
That's going to open up the magic bat, and given the fact that you can float over there, it's a really quick check. Makes that area a little bit more appealing now. Might even consider doing that and then hitting in the Skull Winds.
And Jumper's got those boots.
I think this would be a good time to pick up that last red crystal.
Yeah, I think both our runners are going to go ahead here and skip the new strat here, which has a really cool name, but I forget what it was.
The spooky glitch.
Spooky glitch, yes. Because it does a bunch of spooky things.
Yeah, I won't even attempt to explain it. I've seen it, I get the basics, but not well enough to try to explain how it works.
Unfortunately, yes, same here. Definitely, it's a little complex.
I can give the executive summary, though. you fire rod certain blocks, and the fire rod will trigger the crystal switches to move, which is why it's spooky. Anything beyond that, I refer you to white papers.
Indeed, there's a bunch of spooky stuff. That's the most important one. Same with the potion glitch. Does a whole bunch of stuff, but the only thing we're allowed to use it for in the tournament is for the Wonder Room Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, the potion glitch I can actually explain though. That one makes sense.
Mm-hmm. As we like to mention here, this game is full of bugs in the 1.0 version.
I don't know if this is urban legend or fact, so I'm going to put that disclaimer out there as such. But legend is that we used the 1.0 version because VTorp liked item dashes.
I've heard that before. Because they took item dashes out of all the other versions of the game, and they also got a whole bunch of other smaller glitches and stuff too, so...
So ninjembro just has to finish off this dungeon a little bit easier. The whole thing's been easier for him having that master sword. The question is, does Lanxion do a full clear here and get the master sword? The risk is that you can gamble that your last item is going to be on cold stare, find that it's not, and then decide not to come back in here for one item. Hopefully that doesn't end up happening, because he really could use that sword.
Yeah, I think, at least for me as a runner, my logic would be to check everything until you've got that item. Even if it's going to be a little bit more of a pain in the butt to check that one thing, you might as well do it, simply because of the fact that if you don't check it and it is the item, you are in so much trouble that you probably should just type GG in the chat, right? In the game chat, and be like, yeah, I'm done. Because that's a huge time loss to have to come all the way back down here to get that.
Absolutely, and that's the case where you might gamble it. I like the choice there. You have the small key. You can go back up the stairs, use the door to go this way, or you can bomb jump across and go to the iced tea room. I like the choice of coming back up here. It saves you a trip down the hookshot path with the jellies.
I would agree. I think it's nicely efficient. You can get 3 chests doing this versus the one in the iced tea room, and get the big key while you're at it. So certainly doesn't hurt. Meanwhile, ninjembro making super quick work of Vitreous as well.
Yeah, Silver Arrows, it's really interesting in this game. They either do almost infinite damage or no damage, depending on the enemy.
And unfortunately, King's Tomb only got the single rupee this time. So, yep, Lanxion's going to go get it, so he's going to have Master Sword here as well.
Nice. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of the how efficient the ALTTP randomizer channels have become. Running in the with the low latency Twitch means that we can't look over at Twitch anymore to see what we missed. they're just too good.
Dang it, we're too awesome at this.
I know, we're just so good at this.
Ninjembro is going to go into Desert Palace, it looks like. Still looking for the mirror.
Interesting option here. I think I might have liked to have seen a player, attempt to clear out that Skullwoods, pick up that red crystal. But there are 3 items here in Desert, including the green pendant.
Yeah, it's really we're at the point now where mirror is pretty much go mode. It's not going to really be a go mode because we're still going to need to go grab the ice rod. But at this point, with what we've got left, we know where the ice rod is. We know that it's just a matter of going over to like Hilly Island and grabbing it. So mirror is going to be the thing that unlocks all of that for us, as well as Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I guess I like the Skull Woods because it's a red crystal over even the green pendant. I mean, any crystals, hey, it's a crystal. But it's possible that if they think it's going to be a pedestal seed, that they're going to want to save that for later, so they can route them together, that type of thing. But, maybe Lanxion will make a different move. They've been very consistent with each other so far.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where Lanx goes from here. We do have plenty of options left available. We've got
Diversion side.
Indeed, I think we're going to see Lanxion go and check into Skullwoods here, finish that up possibly. Yeah, realizing I got the Titan's mitts. I don't have to go the long way around anymore.
I can go the short way. Yeah, could have checked the magic bat there. That would have been a nice quick check before going in the dark world. Without the mirror, I kind of have to do that first if you're going to do it.
So ninjembro went ahead and cleared out the 2 items from Desert Palace and backed out of there. So not thinking pedestal yet. Just looking for items. Probably will dip in Tower of Hera. I assume we'll see that play.
Well, I'm going to stop you there and just say maybe. Did they both see the ice rod, or did only one of them see it? I
think they've both seen the ice rod now. They both went to Hobo, so I believe they both went past it.
I hope so. All right, going left. That's a good sign. I was nervous for a minute there.
Yeah, I know ninjembro definitely saw it. I'm pretty sure Lanxion saw it as well. So we're gonna get our first tablet check here from ninjembro. Not the flute. There you go.
Well, there is an item on the tablet.
Bugnet.
Yeah, two items in Hera, and that's a pretty quick check. And then I think they have enough health they can brute force their way through Spike Cave if they want to.
I think
with the hook shot, I think you can.
I think so. So Lanxion's gonna go ahead and dip down here, do the Mocula fight.
Finally, Skullwoods!
Switching the hammer strats. Be a little more efficient with the damage output, and it got it. Nicely done.
That's a very clean hammer moth. The moth was being cooperative today.
Unfortunately, just gonna be Compass though. Actually, this is a nice play from Lanxion because that's going to give him Pyramid Fairy access.
Exactly. That's 2 items in the Pyramid Fairy. They also still have to check the item on the pyramid. So 3 items over there. And he wants to do Catfish afterwards. It's not a horrible time to do that.
Yeah, so that's some nice efficiency there if you can get it. We'll probably see him actually teleport to 3.
So maybe pedestal check?
Could be. Ped check could be in the cards here from Lanxion. Just even if to kind of soothe the fears possibly that it could be a ped seed. Because
that's interesting.
Once he does this, he can go ahead and do some of the Dark World stuff he hasn't done so far.
Yeah, this is interesting. Alright, so ped hype is a bee in a bottle. Well, it's better than Couch Cash.
And a very small key there for ninjembro. So we're going to see ninjembro go to the basement, try and get that, pluck that second item out of Tower of Hera.
Will we? I mean, he noped out on getting the green pendant, and that was just one item in Desert.
Yeah, because it could be mirror. At this point, if you're just looking for mirror, you need to start checking like everywhere you can for it. Because it can be hiding in all kinds of stupid places. So, I mean, I mean, thankfully, the good news is we know certain places it cannot be that require mirror access. So Graveyard Ledge, we do not need to check there. K45, don't need to check there. Bombo's Tablet, don't need to check there because that's going to be a mirror. That's going to be a mirror check as well. So kind of start to eliminate the places that can't have the item you're looking for.
Yeah, K45 is the ledge south of the Haunted Grove in the the Dark World, Light World.
Yes, it's the South of Grove Cave.
I think when it comes to mirror, you want mirror really early so you can efficiently route everything in, or you want it to be your go mode item.
Oh, is it in here? It's not in here yet, so we'll get to check on the pyramid real quick. Well, they call it K45 is the name because that's what it's called in the game's files. It's just assigned a number. It's just a bottle, so...
Yeah, and no catfish check. He's not going on any further than pyramid.
Well, shoot, we are starting to run out of places where this can be.
Yeah, the spoiler logs will show it as K45.
Yes.
So that just kind of became the thing.
Oh, it's from some random map right now from the game files. Okay, so yeah, someone who mapped the game out assigned it as K45, and some people call it that. Some people call it South of Grove Cave. It kind of has a bunch of different names.
I remember my very first run through of Randomizer. When I had the spoiler log open. You're trying to figure out how this works. And I had to join the Discord. It's like, where's K45? Like, I've played this game, once a year since like 1991, but I don't know where K45 is.
So I think we are going to is ninjembro. He's got to be dipping into Turtle Rock here.
Yeah,
he's making the gamble. It's a double dip. So here's where we haven't seen where it can be, and there's one place that's sticking out, actually, really bad. I think it might be a catfish. Because it can't be a checkerboard cave, can't be at Bombo's Tablet, can't be at Graveyard Ledge, can't be at South of Grove Cave, K45, whatever you want to call it.
We're seeing Magic Bat. That's one of the remaining locations, as well as Purple Chest, and for Lanxion, the blacksmith. So, and Hammer Peg. So there's a couple things over here that we haven't seen.
I don't think we've seen Purple Chest, have we?
No, we saw ninjembro turn in the smith. Lanxion has the smith, the chest, and the pegs to do. Ninjembro still has the pegs in the chest. But I will admit though that seeing the ice rod up on the ledge there kind of made me forget that there were the possibility that the mirror could be even in Turtle Rock. I mean, it obviously is, and ninjembro realized that, and I don't know why I mentally excluded it, but I did.
I think it's probably just a runner thing where you're kind of like, I don't want to have to go into TR unless I have to go. I don't want to have to double dip this. I don't want to have to do, this kind of thing. So I'm going to check everywhere outside of TR and hope it's not a double dip. It could be. It could certainly be. It could be a Mimic Cave. Actually, no, it can't.
Well, yeah, I'd add to your list of mirror lock spots.
Yeah. That's also on the mirror lock spot, so could be on Laser Bridge.
It is really nice though. I mean, having mirror essentially be our go mode item, we're able to eliminate a lot of one-off spots because like every mirror lock spot, excluding all of Swamp, is a one-off.
Yes, indeed. Oh boy.
So Lanx might show us what the green pendant is. Ninjembro decided not to go that far in the dungeon.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get a go mode Swamp Palace. Not much is for certain. Both vendors are going to go ahead and just blitz through it. Maybe open a few chests in the bottom there, looking for a tempered sword. And we do indeed know where Ice Rod is. It's on the Lake Hylia Island, so we need the mirror to be able to get to it. So technically our go mode item will be the Ice Rod. But the true go mode item, the one that will get us to go mode, essentially, or no mode, I guess you can say, is going to be the mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the runners, once they find the mirror, they'll start behaving like they're in go mode. You know, if we find it here in Turtle Rock, ninjembro, he'll mirror out, and he's not going to complete the rest of the dungeon. He knows he's not going to find anything else he needs. I completely agree with what you said, Neon, regarding Swamp. Even in go mode, we'll still check some chests that are, you know, directly in our path, like the Vanilla Compass or Waterfall, maybe. Looking for that sword at this point.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, you're gonna go past them anyways. It's not gonna kill you too much time. I would say you're not gonna probably lose the race because you checked that and someone else didn't. The odds of that happening are far less likely than doing the same thing in GT or something like that, where it might be a little bit closer in 1 or 2 seconds, and GT is really gonna kill you.
Yeah, and once you've cleared this many spots anyway, the chances of the remaining locations having something like the sword that you need is much higher.
Absolutely. Just by process of elimination, if it's, you know, a 2 in 40 chance versus a 2 in 20 chance, you know, that's what?
Exactly.
5% versus 10% right there, so you're going to want to play the odds a little bit more.
So all ninjembro has left in here are the 4 laser-rich chests. Lanxion is giving us the full clear on Desert. So we will be able to get the green pendant turned in immediately and find out what that is. Take that off our list.
Absolutely. The interesting thing here is that Lanxion might actually end up getting all 3 pendants and won't do a pedestal check because they know what's on pedestal is nothing of use.
Yeah, well, Moldorm didn't have the item, but he had to kill Moldorm to know that. Okay.
Yeah, we had to kill Moldorm to get the key. Hey, there's our 3rd sword upgrade. Showing up on Laser Bridge.
He paused there for a minute. It's like he saw a progression show up, but wasn't sure if that was going on.
Yeah, and if this is... Oh, it is! Oh, no. Oh, ninjembro. Oh, no.
Mirror on the green pendant.
Oh, boy. That's not good.
Well, I mean, if ninjembro were to immediately, you know, go do Desert, having already cleared out some of Turtle Rock, will be good for him, but... yeah, it's unfortunate when one player is now in go mode and they have almost everything else equally completed between them.
Absolutely, and Lanxion's not going to go pick up the ice rod yet. He knows that they're half magic for ninjembro.
That's worth picking up. That's worth a fanfare.
I think so. So here's the interesting thing: Lanxion is in no mode, so. Unless somehow he's forgotten the ice rods up there. Which I doubt, but hasn't gone and picked it up yet, simply because it doesn't need it until we're going into Turtle Rock. So with Swamp Palace just to go, he'll complete Swamp Palace in go mode. And I will maybe opening a few chests here and there along the way, and then go ahead and get ice rod, and then go up to TR.
Yeah, this is absolutely the right way to route it. Coming out of Swamp, you can swim over and do the island and then flute away. If he checks it first, he's going to have to come back and re-enter the Dark World or swim all the way around from the ladder at Pod. So he's doing exactly what he needs to do. The only outstanding question is, you know, how many chests is he going to check? Probably all the ones in the back. You know, maybe Compass in the front, but I'd say probably not.
So, I don't want to say too much. It was a race yesterday where it was Master Sword versus Butter Sword at the Ganon fight, and it was dang near a tie. So, even if it takes ninjembro a while to get all this sorted out, if he goes into the Ganon's Tower with better gear, could absolutely that plus maybe some better routing here in GT if it's on, say, you know, left side, if it's on right side, or it's in tile room or something, and it makes a gamble and it pays off. it's still not over. Oh, but getting that shovel is not going to be good because it's going to be like, go check shovel.
Yeah, well, I don't expect Lanxion to miss that sword. He has to go to Laser Bridge for the key, so he's probably going to pick up the sword as well, unless he picks up the key first, right, and then just says, I'm not going to check these 3. So it's probably going to be tempered silver for both players, maybe even buttered silver if it's in the way on the GT checks.
Absolutely. So that could certainly be the case. But Lanxion is going all the way up to Swamp Palace right now.
Yeah, ninjembro showing us the rage there on the tree. Not very happy, not finding anything in the shovel spot. Going to turn the magic bat in here. Another disappointment incoming.
Yeah, he's checking single locations looking for the mirror. Which is the right idea, but it's the wrong single location to check.
Yeah, and it's made a little bit worse due to the fact that he had gone in the desert and just noped out of actually picking up that last item, and that's how it works sometimes, and it is unfortunate. But he does have the 1 win advantage here, so assuming this plays out the way it looks like, and we get to see a game 3. He's not eliminated at this point, so at least yes, there's that consolation.
That would certainly be the case, and that's why we do a best of 3 here in the bracket stages, is because having one race that goes like this for one runner, and then maybe it goes bad for another runner is not a killer. You got to win 2. You got to do it twice to get through. So. We're gonna see him go ahead and complete Skullwoods at this point. Not a bad play, depending on what he's got left to do.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier. I was surprised that Skullwoods wasn't one of the first things done, but unfortunately, this is going to lead him to the Pyramid Fairy, and then probably Catfish afterwards. So all of these one-off checks. The best thing, like you were saying earlier, is just that many of these one-off checks are mirror lock checks. So at least that'll be saved.
Yeah, so that will be a positive for ninjembro, because at some point the game's it's just a matter of when does the game force him to go to do Desert Palace. When does that become the only option that's left?
Yeah, he's probably within 5 minutes from being forced over there at the outset. But Lanxion, did the efficient route, finished up, and will be picking up the ice ride here. So this is an official. I've actually got the item in my hands go mode at 127.
Indeed, and just having TR left to do, that's going to be super nice to be able to do that in essentially go mode. And if we do find that. We might soon go ahead and open up the rest of the chest on Laser Bridge too. That might be the case here. Because you're there, you might as well spend the time to open up the rest of them up if you're still looking for that tempered sword, in case it is there. And fortunately for Lanx, it is indeed on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, I absolutely expect that he'll skip Mimic Cave, but definitely get to check the Laser Bridge chests. Lanxion did do a number of checks, though, that were, in hindsight, necessary locations, like Pyramid Fairy, the Magic Bat. So, he has really nothing in his routing that is going to make him feel like he's ahead at this point. He probably feels comfortable, but definitely not ahead.
Yeah, I think as a runner, you kind of always feel like you're even to behind, even if you feel like you're doing really well. There's very few times you ever feel like you're ahead. Even when you're like way ahead, you never feel like that.
Yeah, you need to have taken multiple gambles and for all of them to have majorly paid off in order to actually feel ahead.
Absolutely. If you're doing multiple sequence breaks and you're just getting like all kinds of crazy items and you're in almost go mode. And like you said, you're just huge gambles that you assume that no other player is going to make. Then in that case, you might feel like you're ahead. But a lot of times you feel like you're going to be even to behind, and it's just kind of you're not going to feel like you're ahead until you get almost done with the game. because most of my races that I won, I would feel like I was behind, and I'd be watching the timer, which is a bad thing. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, don't watch the timer.
Don't do that.
Don't watch the
But
timer.
I would be watching the timer in the chat, just looking for that dot done as I go up to GT. And, you get to floor 2, you get to floor 3, and you're still not seeing that dot done. And by the time you get to like floor 5 or 6, you're starting to think, okay, maybe it's fairly close. And then you get to 7 and you still don't see that dot done. And you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe I actually am ahead at this point, and it's just pure execution from that point onward.
Well, another thing to keep in mind too is, Lanxion, he had that Misery Mire death. So, even one death is going to make you feel behind, no matter what else you do.
Absolutely.
So Ninjembro, with so few locations left at this point, looks like he is continuing on to Catfish. Just not many places left. After this, you might do Purple Chest, might turn in that, might go for the Green Pendant, but definitely running out of locations at this point. So that's good because it funnels you into where you need to go.
Absolutely. That's kind of the beauty of Rando, is that the game will tell you where you need to go more often than not, because you'll either get something that points you in the right direction, or you will run out of options, and whatever's still left to complete has to be progression. You know that the game's not gonna, especially with all the programming that Vitorp and Christos and everyone have done, with the logic to kind of smooth out and eliminate a lot of those potential locks. You kind of know that the game is always going to point you in the right direction in the end.
Well, I'll add on to that. Compared to like one of the popular things that we see a lot of players playing now is the Super Metroid Link to the Past crossover game. It has both of the games, mixed together. And compared to something like Super Metroid, that game, you can go really, really far and then have to backtrack, 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to get to where you're going. This game, there's really no place that you can't get to pretty quickly. So with a finite number of locations and fairly easy navigation, it's really hard to get, even a beginner taking, more than like 4 hours to complete the very first seed.
You make me feel bad because I took 4.5 for my first one.
Even a beginner wouldn't take more than 5 hours to complete the very first seed.
No, it's fine. I kind of melted my time pretty quickly after that. But
well, was that your first Rando or your first Zelda altogether?
First Rando. I hadn't played Link to the Past in like a couple years at that point, like regularly. So I was very rusty on a lot of things.
We both forgot Thieves Town Big Chest.
Indeed, that's such a nasty little one spot location to have, especially because it's probably not going to be anything.
It really is hard to keep track of all of these one-off locations without a map tracker. Even good runners will still use map trackers until you've just done hundreds and hundreds of these things, and can do it all in your head.
Absolutely, but even then, it's always good to have one just as kind of like a backup reference to keep your mind from messing with you, because sometimes you can think that you've got something and you've not been there, or you misremember something on the map and you kind of mismark that in your head as being a crystal dungeon when it's a pendant dungeon. You're getting all ready to go do like Turtle Rock, and you step in there and you hear the pendant music and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Taking the time to mark that accurately. Everything in this game is about accuracy and avoiding backtracks.
Indeed. So Lanx can go ahead and start from the back here,
which isn't good for him.
No, he's gonna get the key.
He's gonna skip.
Oh no, he's not gonna skip. He decides better of it. Good call.
It did look like
really
he was
happy.
It looked like he was pausing for a minute there. I don't know if that was the time of the laser or to decide to open the chest.
We'll have to ask him about that afterward. That would be an interesting question. Was he just trying to time the laser out, or was he thinking he was just going to go mow the rest of it and pause for a moment? Was like, I got 2 more chests to open up. I might as well spend the time.
Yeah, he got the key, and it really looked like he was thinking like, And I'll gallop. But with the Tempered Sword, now he's definitely in, true 100% go mode. Not going to open anything that he doesn't have to with red mail and silvers. But ninjembro is at least on the right track now. Honestly, not sure if there were any other places at this point, but from routing or lack of options, he's going to get his green pendant and get his mirror.
He won't be happy about it when he finds out that the green pendant turn ins the mirror. I think at that point he might feel like he's pretty far behind.
Yeah, what's interesting though, I love this about Randomizer is, you can, at this point in the race, you can look over at Lanxion and you can be like, okay, I was like, this isn't speed gaming, is it? No, good. You can be like, he just got a 7th crystal, and in Ninjembro, you can say, well, he still has all of these things to do, but in reality, it's not going to be like, it's going to be like a 10-minute difference. It's really, it's closer than you think.
Absolutely, and speaking of this not being speed gaming, we still would like you to go ahead and guess the key for Ganon's Tower if you would like to. Just enter a number between 1 and 22 in the chat. Unfortunately, we don't have the leaderboards and all of that jazz, but the prize is going to be an unlimited number of green pendants.
What?
Just, unfortunately, we only have one of them, so we can only give you one per person.
Prize is an unlimited number of green pendants?
You're only limited by supply.
Supply and demand.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our supply is only one. Hey, look, they're artisanally crafted. So, Kira, would you mind giving us a number real quick?
You want a specific number, not a room? I like to do rooms because they give me more options.
You can go do room, because I'll say, I like to say number 12, which usually puts it in the rando room.
I'm going to say Stalfo's room today.
Okay, cool. So yours is going to be coming up really quick here. Bob's Torch only has a big 20.
Yeah, that's my only commentator privilege is I get to check more, I get to pick more than one spot.
All right, so Kira's guess coming up here. Chest number, locations number 4 through 7. Always remember that it's locations and not chests because there aren't that many chests down here in the bottom.
4, 5 done. 6 is Quake.
Wait.
Not gonna need that. 7 just a piece of heart,
And
so
7.
I'm done.
You're done. It's all right. And of course, there's the lonely chest that we'll never get to see. Number 8 opening up and its bombs. But the lonely chest we almost never get to see, except on super rare occurrences, is going to be... Oh, and Lank's getting a little quick there with that. Got it the second time. The big chest, we never get to see that unless, for some reason, people think it's got an item they need, like the hook shot or something. It's more likely that that shows up in Key Sanity as a thing.
Yeah, coming up on the Fire Snake chest, another small key. What was your guess? You said 12?
12. So I believe we're coming up here to, if I did my math right, we're up through 10 through 13 here, so. Number 10! Hey, it is a random room. Nice.
I usually guess random room.
Well, you should have listened to your gut on that one. So,
I know.
if you guess 10, you're close enough to guess 10. Congratulations. There's a green pendant waiting in the back near the catering. So, I want to pick it up.
We only had 4 guesses. kind of disappointing this particular time.
That's all right. But Shoxy did guess 11, so congratulations, Shoxy. Please go pick up your pendant after the match in the catering area.
And congratulations to Jixon for being 2nd, IAW for being 3rd, and Sadon for being 4th.
All right.
And then,
congratulations. You're all winners. You're all winners.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a pen. I'm the Oprah of Rando. You all get a pendant.
Yeah, everyone gets a pendant, but Shaxi's is green.
Indeed. Look under your seats. There's a pendant.
Without the bot to incentivize people, we don't really get it. We don't get any picks.
I know people like having their names on the board. It's okay.
I'll admit, I've said this before, so it's not like a revelation or anything. And anybody who's seen any of the races I've ever done knows this. That I love the ALTTP channels because I absolutely hate the big key guessing game. Totally hate it. I always tell people, like, anybody else want to do this?
But Lanxion now finishing up Lamolus 2 as ninjembro is on to Argus, gonna very quickly peel through this. Lanxion on the way to the most satisfying room in the game. The
Wizrobe Slaughter 1.
Yes. Nothing quite like putting that block down, popping it, killing those Wizrobes all at once. Feels really good at the end of a run.
Yeah, only thing that beats that is killing 3 Wizrobes and then another with the sword.
Just as we saw there. So very quickly getting through Gauntlet here for Lanxion, making super nice work out of some of the hardest rooms in the game. Can move into this torchlit area here.
A little bit low on health here. Probably shouldn't take another hit. Oh, I was going to say until he gets the 2 free fairies, but never mind.
Nope, gonna go ahead and hedge a bet, make sure it's nice and safe here. Especially without that mirror shield. I can see, I think he's got another safety anyway, so I think he's good to go. And ninjembro, now in go mode with that ice rod, will be able to go back up to Turtle Rock.
I think that's about 13 minutes or 14 minutes.
Indeed. Gonna walk straight around, pick up the magic refill there. And away we go to Moldorm 2. This should not be too much of a hassle for Lanxion. Nice.
No, very nice. 0 falls.
Very nice. That's exactly what you want to see if you're going to get through that with your lead. And skipping out on the final chest.
No reason to open it. No reason at all.
And so away we go to Aga 2 fight. So let's see how the yellow and the blue balls settle here. Oh, ooh, is that a triple? Or is that just? It might have been just recorded as a double though, because if you get 2 of them too close together, they sometimes don't get 2 hits.
I don't know. Our restreamer hasn't bothered to switch the audio over, so I couldn't hear it.
2, yeah, it didn't get both of those. He would have, that was 6 right there. So if he'd gotten the triple, that would have been it on that last cycle.
I shouldn't troll Hanson with all the times I ask him for help.
Very nice to Hanson. You might just turn the music off.
I know. Next time next time I'm starting a restream and I can't get something to work, I'll ping him and be like, "I'm busy. Go away."
Oh, I should need some help now.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm too busy adjusting the volume levels to help you.
I'm just turning your volume levels down to 0. But anyways, Lanxion is on the Ganon fight here. Doing some nice work with that tempered sword.
I love getting the spin on the trident there. That is beautiful.
Indeed, and we are going to be in the phase 3 very quickly here. This should be more than enough hits to get in phase 3. Oh, actually, we're going to be short. Maybe just 1 or 2.
Maybe 1 short. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a little frustrated at that. Yeah. Can't say I blame him. Now he should be in the phase 3 now. Yep, there's the teleports. We are definitely into phase 3. Ganon's gonna ask him, did we find his arrows? Sure did. One more to go. Indeed, they were in Death Mountain. We did find them.
Yeah, nice double there. Oh, and that's a perfect setup for another one.
Absolutely. Beautifully executed by Lanxion. So as long as he doesn't fall through that staircase there, we're heading to game 3 between these two at a later date. Which is sometime this week, because...
yeah, to be determined.
To be determined this week. But indeed, Lanxion has completed... Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Oh my god, I love that. Indeed. Get those
you got the time there? Do you have the official time?
I didn't have the official time.
I have the SRTV page, so a time of approximately 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 37 seconds.
Indeed.
So my apologies. We do have these official times. 1 hour, 44 minutes, 35 seconds for Lanxion. And we do have an official logged forfeit from ninjembro, who has declined to join us for an interview. So we will see if we can get Lanxion in here, though, and congratulate him for his wins. But get the GGs in either way. Indeed,
get those GGs in there. Yeah, usually you'll see a runner forfeit. Just in this kind of best of 3 format, because a lot of the times if you're kind of far behind, you just kind of want to reset and get ready for game 3. So it's not uncommon to see that. Actually see that a lot in things like chess too. You'll see a player just kind of concede and be like, all right, I'm gonna go do the next game. We're gonna go on to the next game. And that's kind of the same idea here. So
I did shoot him an invite, and we'll see if he's available. And we are joined by Lanxion, and hopefully we haven't been mispronouncing that the entire race. GG's.
Oh, thank you very much. And that sounds about right. You can call me whatever you want.
Close enough.
All right.
Sounds good.
So how are you feeling right now, Lanxion, after that heck of a seed there?
That seed started out in a pretty good way, and then things kind of turned sideways once we were looking for the mirror. And I felt like I was behind the whole game, because I went through the entire mid game just not really finding anything. So I felt pretty behind, and I think that it seems like my ninjembro kind of just maybe had not gotten the mirror, and maybe I checked that last. So
that's pretty much what happened. He was in Desert Palace before you, but chose to bow out after finding a second item and didn't get the green pendant until after you had already turned it in and gotten the mirror out of it. That kind of was the play that ultimately, I think, turned the match in your favor.
I guess the thought process there, it's weird, because I felt like we had all these items, and then there were so many items that could have been checked that were not in the logic of, because you got the boots late, you got the powder late, and you got all this all these things late. So I was like, oh well, my thought process, it felt like the mirror was going to be behind one of those items, so I started backtracking through all those in the book, because the book was late too. So I figured I went backwards through all those items first, and I was like, you know what, the green pendant kind of says something to me there. So tried that, and it worked out in my favor. These things happen, I guess.
Absolutely. So your win kind of pulls that even the 1-1 here. Did have a very small question for you as far as Turtle Rock. When you were on Laser Bridge, you got the key, and we kind of saw you pause for a moment. Were you thinking about opening up those last 2 chests? Were you thinking about skipping them, or were you just pausing there to line up the laser and get it to the fire so you can go open the last 2 chests?
I wanted to make sure all the lasers were out of the way, and I wanted to line up the dash, because those checks aren't that slow, and if tempered is in there, the rest of the run is so much faster, like probably a minute. So
absolutely,
that was my thought. So
yeah, that's what we were trying just to figure out, if you had just thought for a moment and we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can check these last 2 chests, because we knew that the ninjembro had actually dipped into TR and looking for the mirror possibly being in there. and we knew that the temperature was in the chest that you were just like right next to, and we're like, oh goodness, hope he gets it, because man, this could be a tough fight with Master Sword strats.
It's something I could do. It's not something that I want to do ever. So I'm really glad I found that tempered.
Absolutely, that was a nice little godsend right there for you. Anything else about the seed that kind of stuck out, either good or bad for you?
Nothing really. The mid game was just scattered. It's really tough to do these seeds. Like, so we got the flute pretty early, and then we had the bow. So I'm not sure where ninjembro went, but we had a ton of options. I thought that one of us was going to beat each other in the very get-go. Like the person who went to Eastern first and got the progression, or the person who decided to go up to Death Mountain first. It then ended up not mattering because both those locations are pretty dry. But it felt like a pretty average seed that we normally have in one item. Like the mirror was our go mode item last night, so I was like, hopefully it's not for the third time on Wednesday. Hopefully it kind of stays there. But overall, it feels like an average rando seed. You get trolled by one item. That's the way it is. I made a good decision this time. He made a good decision last night. Hopefully it's a good race on Wednesday.
Indeed, yeah. When you guys have your next match on Wednesday,
Same time.
Wednesday at the same time. So Wednesday at 7:15 on a channel to be determined. I don't think we've quite got them scheduled out that far in advance.
Not that far in advance.
But
we're good a couple hours in advance, and we call it a win.
Yeah, we're like, are we good through 10 o'clock? Okay, yeah. We'll figure out the rest later.
So the plan is for the mirror to be in Link's house on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, don't wish that upon a person. Come on, jeez. Well, I mean, hey, if the mirror's your go mode, it means I never have to. I always get the go mode swamp, which is like, that's living the dream. That's what we always want.
Yeah. I mean, it really did work out for you. I got to ask, and this is a generic question, but you did take that one death in Misery Mire, and you were down a race already for this bracket phase. When you were heading into Ganon's Tower, what's going through your mind?
My heart was actually pumping, because the way I lost last night was that I had killed the Aga 2. And then he had done. So I was like, I was like, this. So he beat me by probably a minute or a minute and a half, I think, because we had silvers. So I was like, this is gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be so stupidly close. And so the entire walk up Ganon's Tower was super nerve-wracking. So I'm just glad that it worked out.
Yeah, I know how that feels. I've been there too myself. So. It's never fun to have a race that close and be like, oh man, if only I had done. Because you start second guessing yourself at that point. You're just like, man, if I just done this right, I would have won this. But yeah, this time around, it turned out made the right calls, the right plays at the right time, and especially made that right call going ahead and getting that green pendant turn in. That was the real game changer.
I was so excited. It was like a switch going off, and I just kind of gunned it. So it was nice. It was a good way to do it. So
absolutely. So
it is a shame when a seed is so generous in the beginning, and you guys have so many options, and it comes down to those one-off locations.
Yeah, that's a tough way to do things. It sucks when someone loses because of an item was in a really troll location. Like last night, we lost because I think that we had to go to TR and Ice Palace, and one chose one and one chose the other, and the mirror was there in the Ice Palace, so he kind of got that. It's really good when the race is really close the whole way, and then that kind of comes into play. But you try to just play well and put yourself in a position where you can kind of beat the RNG. Hopefully it works out.
So Neon, you've been trying to wrap up 4 times, and I keep asking questions. I apologize.
It's all right. I was just going to ask if there's anything more that you wanted to mention real quick there, Lanxion, or...
No, I just want to think, shout out to the Kelsey and the Bird family. They're always really supportive, and thank you very much to Link Past Randomizer and everyone putting this on. Thank you for commentating. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to watch it back, and I hope we're going to put on a pretty good show for the third match, and thank you very much.
No problem. And speaking of our runners, go ahead and give both ninjembro and Lanxion a follow. They both put on a heck of a show tonight. These guys, top 128, everybody who's in here absolutely has earned the right to be in here. They are some of the, some of the most talented people we have running this game right now. Very, very top-notch players, especially in this V29. So definitely give them a follow, and be sure to tune in on Wednesday for that Game 3. It's going to be a high-pitched match here. Going to be a knockout match between these two, and I expect it will be very close to the end. As well, we want to say thanks to the people who helped bring this to you tonight. So, of course, Hanson, our awesome restreamer, wouldn't be able to do this without you. Obviously, you actually wouldn't be able to see the stream between these two.
Yeah, literally.
Thank you as well to Jixon for handling the tracking for us tonight. Much appreciated. It really helps us to be able to remember when we screw up and are like, oh yeah, he's got sword. No, wait, no, he doesn't have sword. We had a couple of those tonight, so it's always nice to have that as a standby for both the audience and for the commentators for when we mess up a little bit. And of course, thank you to Tiru for co-commentating with me tonight. It was a pleasure, my man.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and wrap up by adding my thanks to the runners as well, ninjembro and Lanxion for putting on a really fun race. I absolutely enjoyed this. Some scenes are fun, some are boring. This was a really fun one. Hanson does an amazing job. This was a nice, clean race. Gave us wonderful tools to work with. Does so much for the community. So we absolutely would not be here without the restreamer. Jixon. Tracking was splendid. Keeps us honest. You gotta love everyone who volunteers. And Neon Tiger was really a lot of fun. I appreciated this for our first co-com together. I hope we get a chance to do another.
Absolutely, I think we definitely will get that chance. There's like 80 races that we've commentated between us, and this is our first one doing it together.
Yeah, so. I know. What are the odds?
What are the odds? But anyways, if you want to watch some more rando action, we've actually got a whole bunch of matches going on right now and a couple coming up. So just to give you a very super quick rundown here of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff here. Over on Speed Gaming 5, we got Violet Pumpkin versus Hacksaw. It started at 8:15, so that's about an hour in. At 8:30, we have two races that started at 8:30. One on Speed Gaming between Alucard and McLagging, and one on, let's see, ALTTP Randomizer 2 between Hippo and Hyphenated. I believe that's the game 2 between them. I think they ran last night.
That is, so, I did that race last night.
Okay, so it is indeed game 2 between them. If you're interested in that and you want to watch that and you don't know what channel it is, just go ahead in your
URL and add
URL there. Just put a 2 on the end. Or if you like to watch a match that just got started, you can put a 3 at the end of that. Because over on ALTTP Randomizer 3, just at the top of the hour, we had Dragon Master and Trojan do it as a game 2 as well that just went live. And in 17 minutes over on Speed Gaming 4, it's Flip versus Jay Masher. I think I pronounced his name right. I hope so. But they've got that going on Speed Gaming 4. I think there's a couple of other matches maybe coming up a little bit later tonight around 10 or 11 o'clock. But definitely follow all of the Speed Gaming channels. Follow all of the ALTTP Randomizer channels. I believe it's Speed Gaming number 1 through 6, and then ALTTP Randomizer. There's 4 channels in that. So if you follow all of them, you are definitely guaranteed to make sure that you can keep track of all the things that are going on quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a good 14, 15-hour block every day where you can't not see a randomizer race.
Indeed. And for the other 8, you can actually get some sleep and get rested so you don't go insane watching hours upon hours of rando. Hey, we like having people here, but we want to encourage healthy habits, and getting enough sleep is important. So I think we'll wrap that up for Tiru and myself and Jixon and Hanson and both of our runners. Thank you all for being here. Good night, good RNG, and we will see you next time here on ALTTP Randomizer.